Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again, Junkmaster3, and I'm back with a new video. And I must say right away that in the near future, or in the last, or like the next couple of weeks or so, I might not be able to make as many videos as I did before because of different things in life, so to say. So yeah, I just want to get that said right away before I continue with this video. And I am also going to make the top 5 of the month for the month of May, but this particular video is going to be a little bit different because mainly I usually talk about low budget crap or trash films or garbage films in general, or like underrated films or like underrated horror films. But this is going to be a little bit of a different type of video because this is like mainstream films in general. So if you're not into that, maybe this is not really the video for you. But I decided to make this ranking of this franchise because I have quite recently, rewatched these films, and some films I've decided that I liked more than I did before, and some movies still stand where they were before. So yeah, this is going to be my ranking of the Harry Potter films, and I'm not counting the prequels, I believe, which is called Fantastic Beasts or something like that. I haven't seen those films, and to be honest, I don't really have that big of an interest to check those out. I'm probably gonna do that anyway, but I will stick to the Harry Potter films because I think they are pretty damn good films in general. So yeah, first of all, we have. I mean, I'm going to go through this with. I'm gonna start with the weakest one in my opinion, and I'm gonna work my way up to my favorite one. So, and once again, this is just my personal opinion of how I appreciate these films for different reasons. So I'm not saying this is just my personal opinion, so to say. So yeah, first of all, we have at number 8, the weakest one in the series, in my opinion, is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, which I think most people probably, not most people, but I think the majority of people probably think this is the weakest one. No, that's not the reason why I don't like it, just because of the mainly people that don't like this film. I mean, I think it's a well-made film. I just think it seems more to me that it's like focused on, or like the build up towards the end, and you're just waiting for things to happen, and it feels like it has a pretty bad pacing in general. And another reason why I don't like this film that much is because they've changed quite many things from the book, I believe, and now it was a while since I read the books, but one scene which I really looked forward to when I was about to watch this for the first time was the scene with Wormtail, or Peter Pettigrew, because in the film he's pretty much just killed off, or like just stunned, and he's just out of the film, and that's just the end of his character. But in the books, Harry asks him to help them because he was like, I spared your life once, and I need your help right now. But instead of doing this, I mean, he's like hesitating, and this hand that he gets from Voldemort in the fourth film actually strangles. He basically like strangles himself, but Voldemort has that hand under his control. So that's a scene which I really wanted to see, but I guess they skipped it for some reason. I just think Wormtail is a very underrated character in general in these films. Yeah, but anyway, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 at number 8. I still think it's I mean, all of these films, they're well-made films. I just feel like they are better and or worse in some ways. And then at number, let's see here, at number 7 we have, is it 7? Yeah, at number 7 we have Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I really like the character of Horace Slughorn in this, but that doesn't really help this film. I mean, I would say the last half an hour or so of this film is really good in my opinion, but all of the scenes in between, like before that, just feel so, they just feel so forced in there. I mean, some of this like romance part, which I know for sure there are romance in these type of films, or like in this film, but the thing is, it just feels like they executed it in such an awkward and weird way, because in the previous films, Harry is actually more like interested in shows, and in this film he just all of a sudden is like really like in love with Ginny, and I think the books pretty much just describe that whole relationship much better than the films. The films just felt like we need this in the film, we're gonna sort of shove it in there and we'll hope for the best. And once again, this is another film which I think is the one which has some of the weaker pacings in general, or like a weaker pacing. I really liked, like I said, the ending of this film, or like the last half an hour or so. I think it's really, really great. Um, and yeah, it's just something about it. I don't really care for the romance part. I mean, I know that's a big part of these films, but I just feel like they are just shoved in there, and it felt like they could have done that in a much better way. But yeah, that's just my opinion. And at number 6, we have a film. We have the part 5, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And this is, once again, it feels a little bit strange because it has so many things to it. It feels like it's supposed to be. It's like upbeat in some sequences, which just doesn't make any sense because you know for sure these films tend to get darker and darker. And since I would say part 4 is probably one of the darker films in the series, this just felt like they wanted to have some comedic elements to this in between. And I think most of the time when it comes to newer films in general, they seem to shove in comedy in there, and they do that in such an awkward and weird way. So like they have this small like pause where you're supposed to laugh, and it just makes no sense. It's just frustrating in my opinion. And another reason is I can't stand the character of Dolores Umbridge. I know you're not supposed to don't not like that character, but I think she did a great job, the actress who played Dolores Umbridge, but I just can't stand the character. And yeah, well, like I said, some of the music in this I feel is the music is really good. It's just that some of the music feels way too happy in a way, which I don't like at all, and I don't think it really fits for this film because that's maybe like some music that could have been made for the earlier films in the series. But yeah, that's just my opinion, and sometimes you tend to change your opinion as well. So yeah. Now let's see here. We have number 8, 7, 6. Now we are at number 5, I believe. Yeah, number 5. At number 5 we have Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone, depending on where you live. But I always grew up with Philosopher's Stone, so I'm going to call it that. The very first film, I think it's a great introduction to the series. I wouldn't say it's the best, considering some of the effects are not as good as they used to be. I mean, some of the effects look really dated, in my opinion. I would say the troll is very dated. And of course, I know for sure it's in the older film of the series, but one thing which I really like about the earlier films is the portrayal of Dumbledore by Richard Harris, which I think was a great Dumbledore. I just think it's very unfortunate that he passed away. I'm not saying Michael Gambon is a bad Dumbledore, but I think Richard Harris is a little bit better, and in my opinion, still think Michael Gambon did such a great job with Dumbledore as well, so no hate towards that guy anyway. So yeah, great introduction to this. This like feels more kid friendly, and I know for sure they didn't know how to make this film maybe when they directed this, because at this point I don't think all of the books had been released. So they did the best what they could, and I think they did a good job and a good introduction to the characters and the world of wizards and witches, and yeah. So yeah, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Great introduction to the series. I'm probably gonna get really hated because I like this one a little bit better than Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. But at number 4 we have Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I think this is a little bit better than depending on where you live, but Philosopher's Stone. I really like the Quidditch matches in the earlier films are really great in my opinion, and of course there's some great Quidditch in part 6 as well, but it just felt like it was just shoved in there, and that's the reason why I don't care that much for that. And yeah, this one I really like the snake. The way the snake looks, really amazing. I would say Kenneth Branagh's character in this is a little bit. I know it's supposed to be like an imposter, but it's a little bit stupid at times. But still, sort of charming in a weird way as well. And the Aragog spider in this really terrified me when the first time I saw this. So yeah, still an entertaining film. I would say this is a little bit better than Philosopher's Stone, and I'm probably gonna get lynched by that. But yeah, that's just my opinion. So, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets at number 4, and at number 3 is a film which is a film that sounds weird. At number 3 is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. This took pretty damn many times for me to watch to fully appreciate, because the first 2 or 3 times I watched this, I did not like the way it ended and the way they dealt with the characters, because it felt like they had replaced replaced some really important things from the book and just replaced it with some action sequences. But I'm not going to compare it with the books all the time, because that makes me feel like I'm some sort of douche. So I'm just going to try to, as much as I can, not to talk about the books that much, but sometimes you just tend to do that anyway. So, but this one I think is a great ending, and I did not think about. I didn't think it was a great ending the first times I watched it. But the problem with some of these later films, in my opinion, is Voldemort. I think Ralph Fiennes is such a great actor, but it's just that his character is not terrifying anymore. I mean, from the point from part 5 up to part 8, he's not terrifying to me. I just think he's more funny in a weird way. But yeah, maybe this way he's acting, and I can't blame the actor. But since there's so many parodies of this guy on, or like Voldemort on YouTube, you tend to really laugh at some of the parts where he like laughs and stuff like that. But the ending is a little bit so-so. I mean, maybe it could have been made in a little bit better way, but I know for sure it's not the easiest like scene to film, or like the easiest scene to make. But yeah, still I think this is one of the better ones. I did not think that before but when I revisited this series, I really like this. Really good explanations of how Snape was as a character as well. I think that was really one of the main reasons why I like this as much as I did. And once again, even though John Williams don't think he was involved in the score in this, I know for sure they played Hedwig's theme in this film as well. But the guy who made the music for this did such a great job. I think it's like so Doomsday-like, which I really liked. So yeah, the score really helped this film in my opinion. So yeah, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, number 3. I'm probably gonna get hated by now, because I think most people tend to really like this one the most, but this is my second at number 2 for me. So Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, number 2. Really great film, really well. The cinematography in this film is so great, and I think once again the music is terrific. Once again by John Williams. I think this was the very last film when he did the music for. And I also really like the character of Lupin. It feels like I'm repeating myself over and over again when it comes to some of these films, but yeah, I'm gonna try to do this as best as I can. So, and once again, I think Wormtail or Peter Pettigrew is such an underrated character in general. He used to terrify me the first times I watched these films. So yeah, it's just something about that character. I know he's like a real disgusting creep, but it's just something about him. And I love this scene when Harry is like walking around Hogwarts and he sees Peter Pettigrew on the map, and he's been told that he's been like dead for like ages. Yeah, that's also really creepy in my opinion. And I think, what's that theme called? The theme with the flute. I can't remember the theme what it's called, but Window to the Past, I believe. That's such a great score in for this film. So amazing. And this is also the introduction to Sirius Black, which I did think they did really well. And yeah, once again, this is such a well-paced film as well. So yeah, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, number 2. And at number 1 we have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which, like I said before, this is my favorite one. And I didn't say that before, but one of the main reasons why I like this so much is because of how dark it is. Because right away, right from the get-go, when you see the snake coming out and like crawling in the grass, and you hear the music, it's like really eerie. At first I was like, okay, is this even a Harry Potter film, or is this like a horror film? So maybe that's the reason why I like this so much, because this feels like it has the most terrifying scenes in it, and maybe that's the reason why I like it. I know for sure this movie does not follow the book particularly well per se, but I know some people really don't like the way they handle the Triwizard tournament thing with the different tasks, but I think they still did a good job, even though they didn't really follow all of the books, like the book particularly well. But so yeah, once again, one of the main reasons why I like this so much is because it really feels like a punch in the gut. Like now it's serious, and the opening scene with the gardener going into this riddle house, that scene terrified me like for such a long time, because in my house we have a similar, I'm not saying that it's like filled with like spider webs, but this staircase looks so familiar to me, and the way they walk, and it just seems like I live in this riddle house. That sounds really weird, but once again, Wormtail is really creepy in this one. I know I've talked about more Wormtail so many times, and maybe you think, why the hell do you have such a boner for a rat? But anyway, I think Voldemort in this is so damn awesome. I think he is really terrifying. This is when he was the most terrifying to me. Most people probably say in some other film, but I think this is Voldemort at his best. Really terrifying when he's like walking around on that graveyard. That whole scene is just so great and well acted, in my opinion. And also I like the introduction to Moody in this, and Barty Crouch Jr. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about these films, because most people have probably talked about these movies so damn many times, so it just feels like I'm just here rambling on. But yeah, this is my favorite one for some of these reasons that I mentioned. And I think, once again, there are some romance in this film, but I just think they are dealing with it in a much better way than the later films, because in the later films it just feels like it's shoved in there, even though there are some sequences in this which most people say, why do they act like that? Why is Ron jealous of Harry, and why does he treat him like shit, and why is Hermione like that in the film? But I would say it's a minor thing which you might find a little bit irritating. And once again, one of the scenes which I think most people don't like is this scene where Dumbledore runs in on Harry and said, "Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?" I know that's not what it says in the book. That's just bullshit. I mean, he should have been asking that calmly, but I didn't really care that much for that, because that was just basically one damn sentence, and the way he acted like that, I just think it's more hilarious than anything else. And yeah, I think this is a really well and great paced film, and has a never boring, and I think every scene fills some sort of purpose. So yeah, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, number 1. Now, sorry for talking for almost 20 minutes, but I'll do my best to describe of why I like these films in this particular order. And like I said before, your opinion changes from time to time. So I'm not saying that this is written in stone, like this is my opinion and this is what it's gonna be. But yeah, this is just my opinion at the moment. So yeah, hope everyone enjoyed, and I know this is a little bit different from your typical videos that I make, but I just felt like I wanted to make this video because I had recently rewatched these films, or like this franchise again. So yeah, you have to deal with that if you don't like that. But anyway, hope you enjoyed, and yeah, see you again in the next video. Bye.